There's a place in southwest Colorado called the Alpine Loop. This 63-mile series of 4x4 trails in the San Juan Mountains contains some of the most beautiful driving destinations in the West. Dom and I have been here before and love this part of the country. But there is one road that we have never conquered. This road is called Black Bear Pass, and it's considered by many in the off-road community to be one of the most dangerous roads in Colorado. This trail is known for a particularly difficult section called the Steps, where novice drivers have been known to flip and roll their vehicles, sometimes fatally. The San Miguel County Sheriff, Bill Masters, has gone on record stating, "We have had some horrific fatalities on Black Bear Road where we're literally picking up the pieces of people's bodies. You really have to pay attention. You can be sober and you can be experienced, but if you're inattentive for 1 nanosecond, you're dead." And I'm not sure people realize that. In this video, this is the trail that Dom and I are setting out to drive.
Rolling out in the morning.
Yeehaw.
Project fans, we are back doing another episode in the Alpine Loop.
Yay!
Yay! Dom drove his happy ass all the way over here from Pennsylvania.
Yep, again.
This is round 2. We've done this before. We're going to try and go in a little bit wiser, a little bit smarter, a little bit better.
And a little crazier.
And a little crazier to a successful trip.
Yeah, I sure hope nothing horrible happens.
Also true to tradition, jinx it early and often. So the plan today is we are going to swing back down through Denver. I have a sticker being made for the truck. We're gonna grab that so I can slap it on the truck, and then we're gonna head down and set up base camp to do the Alpine Loop. So see you guys there. One of my favorite things about taking on challenging trips like this is the uncertainty and excitement that it brings. There are few things better than heading out knowing you are going to attempt to do something that you've been planning for such a long time. But at this point in the trip, Dom and I hadn't even discussed driving Black Bear Road. We didn't drive it the last time we were here, and I knew that it was something that I wanted to do. But if you've ever had something weighing on your nerves, you know that the smallest thing can send your mind into a spiral of uncertainty, and what we saw on the drive out would be sitting in the back of my mind the entire trip. A quick little recap of what's going on. Dom and I just watched the trucker lose his brakes on the 7% downgrade. Smoked him all the way down and had to use the runaway ramp. Got some videos of him on the ramp. I didn't get anything of him actually losing his brakes, but it was bad. They smoked and let go, and he just went flying down the road. Crazy stuff. All right, guys, we made it to Ridgway State Park. It's a little bit late, as you can see, and I'm not going to really do a recap or a video at the end of the night, so we'll do this again in the morning. Tramp stamp or off to the side?
Hey, Dom. How are you doing? We're going to do some off-roading today. Are we? We are going to do some off-roading.
We are going to do some off-roading. Hey, Kate, are we going to do some off-roading?
We're going to be doing some off-roading. These people are going to judge me.
It's okay, they can judge you.
But my $70-some worth of hair care product exploded in my face wash.
They grenaded inside of her bag.
Well, John, we're going to talk about pressure.
But when we drive up into the mountains, air molecules are trying to expand.
So we're on our way to Last Dollar Road, and that's where we're going to start off our trip at. It'll be a nice trail to kind of wet our feet and get us kind of softened back into it. It's always nice to start with something simple. And Black Bear Pass may or may not be open. It was marked as closed in the state park office.
It was?
Yes. There have been a couple accidents on it, though, in the last couple of days, and they may have closed it back up. It's not an extremely difficult trail. It's just if you make a mistake, you die. So there's that.
Traveling around the world, my feet will tell me where to go. I'm not afraid to step outside and see the world for what it is. No, spending all my time with people that I barely know. You may have thought that I was lost, and all I need is room to grow. I'm coming home to put a flower in your hair.
10-4.
We decided to start the trip out with some easy driving. Kate had never been out this way, and Dom and I hadn't had our wheels on a difficult trail in some time, so to begin the trip, we decided to start down the Last Dollar Road. This often overlooked road adds a beautiful off-pavement drive from Ridgway to Telluride. Featuring exceptional views of several San Juan peaks, Last Dollar can be traversed by almost any vehicle that has some clearance when dry, but the signs along the way make it clear that the road is not to be attempted without four-wheel drive in wet conditions. I really wasn't expecting to see this sign. From everything that I read, it's supposed to be a really easy trail. This is saying very slick when wet, which is fine and normal, but four-wheel drive, good tires only. All right. With the trail featuring beautiful aspen groves, fields of wildflowers, and amazing views at several scenic overlooks, somehow the most fascinating thing about this drive is the history attached to it. In the late 1800s, gold prospectors seeking fortune used this route through privately owned land as the main access to the town of Telluride. Because the owner charged a $1 fee to cross the land, the story goes that the hopeful prospectors would set aside $1 so that if they didn't succeed, they could afford the toll out of town on the Last Dollar Road. So comments for the Last Dollar Road. Fairly easy road, almost anything could make this drive. You don't particularly have to be high clearance or, anything like that. So this is a good drive. We're coming to the end of it right now. We're getting back down to the valley. And I think we're gonna jump on the next trail and I'll let you know what that is when we get there.
I think we're gonna head down to Ophir Pass and head up that way.
Sounds good. Is there a place in Ophir where I can get a cup of coffee?
Hopefully.
Hopefully, because Kate wants one too.
And a bath.
A woman after my own heart. That's what I'm talking about. What we are driving through right now is the town of Ophir, which is small. And I'm going to have some facts pop up here to kind of show you a little bit more about it, but it's a pretty neat little place. After gold was discovered in the area in 1875, the town of Ophir was established and officially incorporated in 1878 when a post office was built in the town. Ophir never grew much larger than a few hundred people, with the population dwindling after local mines closed in 1910, reaching only one resident in the 1970s. Luckily, skiing, outdoor enthusiasm, and the off-road community have helped revitalize the town, bringing the current population close to 100 again. And yes, Ophir is pronounced Ophir. Ophir like gopher. All right, boys, we are about to start Ophir Pass.
Ophir Pass.
We've done this one before, so I'm excited. I've never driven it.
Yeah, so you're gonna drive it, and we're going up instead of down.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a little
more excited. Met a friend who's gonna follow us up here. What's your name?
My name is Jerry.
We're gonna them all air down, ready to go.
Yep.
You're from Chicago.
Yep.
Whew, we got Pennsylvania. I actually live in Colorado now. We're gonna tackle us some Ophir Pass.
All right.
Like the Last Dollar Road, the town of Ophir, and everything else in this area, the pass also has an amazing history, with records of its first being traversed by foot earlier than the 1870s by the Navajo natives. With the gold rush and large number of prospectors starting to flood the area, $15,000 was spent to turn the pass into a toll road for wagons, charging $1 to cross. To put that into perspective, today that would be the equivalent of spending $400,000 and charging a $27 fee for its use. Unfortunately for the investors, the pass was only in operation for a few years before the railroad found its way to the nearby Lizard Head Pass, connecting Telluride to Ophir. This drastically reduced the traffic, and the pass went mostly unused until 1953 when it was reopened to off-highway vehicles. The history of the place aside, Ophir Pass is currently famous with the off-road community for its distinct shelf road. The road and the uphill slope are both mostly covered in scree, giving you an uneasy feeling, both because the loose rock can grab and shift your vehicle, and the hillside just looks like it wants to slide down and shove you off the cliff.
My favorite part of this trail is hearing the loose rock move underneath the vehicle.
Yeah, that's fun.
It's not unsettling at all, right?
I was just gonna say that it's unsettling that those rocks just kind of move the truck around a little bit. The real reason to drive Ophir is the narrow section pinched by one of the most photographed rock formations in the area.
Cliff right there.
Ooh, the road's skinny.
Possible death.
Oh man, it's skinny. Oh, this is totally safe. I'm not fearing for my life at all.
This section adds a little bit of adrenaline to a fairly easy drive, and when you reach the end of the shelf road, there's a scenic pull-off with bucket shot views.
We're We're climbing up to the top, babe. The summit's right up here. There she is.
All right, guys, that is Ophir Pass.
Yep, Ophir Pass.
Ophir. Ophir like
a
gopher.
gopher. Ophir like a gopher.
After clearing Ophir Pass, Dom and I decided to head down the backside and start making our way back towards the camp. Yeah, that biker like came right up next to me before I noticed he was there and basically started waving at me. I'm like, whoa, hey!
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I almost drove over him. Like, so a horn blow would have been nice or something. I don't know. I didn't see him at all until he was right next to me, in inches.
We wanted to come up with a game plan for the next day after hearing several mixed reports about the trails. It seemed like half the people that we talked to said that Black Bear was open, and the other half were convinced that it was closed due to accidents and landslides.
I keep getting mixed statements on Black Bear being open and closed and open and closed. Like, it just thawed out. They just cleared it a couple of days ago, like within the week.
5 days ago.
Yeah.
5 days
and
ago they cleared it.
then I know they had an accident on it and they had a landslide. Like, the stairs are probably might still be closed. I'm not sure.
I hope they're not. I would really.
I hope they're not as well. I'd really like to do it as well. I love the Ugly Mountain Taco.
I'm gonna start calling it the Ugly Mountain Taco. So I used to just call it the Mountain Taco, but you're right. It's the Ugly Mountain Taco. Don't mess with breakfast. It's important. All right, project fans, we are at the beginning of Corkscrew Gulch.
Correct.
We're gonna be hitting
Corkscrew Gulch, Hurricane Pass, California Pass, go heading towards Animas Forks, head down to Silverton,
Yep.
and then come back up, and then it's Black Bear and Imogen.
Have you ever really lived? It's just a matter of time. Have you
I'm ready to roll. Lead the way. Right from the beginning of the day, we started to notice the driving conditions that we had heard about. What we didn't know at the time was that the previous winter, the area had received 323 inches of snow, over 100 inches more than the average, ranking that season second in recorded history for the most snowfall. This must have been one crazy avalanche through here. And although I'm sure the winter sports community loved it, it was devastating for many of the trails along the loop. Although the avalanches, landslides, and snowmelt created a once-in-a-lifetime driving experience, they also carved up many of the popular routes, increasing the difficulty and causing severe accidents, with some of the trails losing over 10 feet of their width in some areas. And yes, one of those sections was on Black Bear.
have you ever really lived?
We're at the top of Corkscrew.
Top of Corkscrew.
Yeah. How's the air up here?
I can't breathe.
I like that drive up there. It's very vertical. This is worth the drive. All right, Dom, just finished Corkscrew. What are your thoughts?
I love Corkscrew.
That's
It's a great drive.
That is a
Beautiful.
great drive.
So pretty. What do you think?
Kate, what do you think?
Beautiful.
Next is
Hurricane.
All right, I'm ready for Hurricane.
Let's roll.
Let's rock and roll. The network of trails through this area served as access to the mining claims in the aptly named Red Mountains between the Red Mountain Mining District and the town of Animas Forks, with many of the trails evolving from mule trails to wagon trails and eventually gaining train access as mining claims were explored. Top of Hurricane Pass.
Top of Hurricane Pass.
What do you think, Dom?
It's hurricaney.
It's hurricaney. It's windy. Easier than Corkscrew. A lot of fun. But pretty drive. Awesome. Check in at the bottom. The rush of prospectors to the area was fueled by the massive success of the nearby Yankee Girl mine, which produced $8 million worth of ore during its operation, or approximately $274 million in today's dollars. The amazing history aside, the driving experience alone makes this trip worth adding to the bucket list, with stunning landscapes and almost foreign-looking peaks at the height of each trail. I forgot how short California was.
Yeah, it's real short.
That's real short. Short, easy, quick. And although we wouldn't consider this an overly technical drive, there are some moderately difficult shelf roads and switchbacks. So after California, we should be in Animas Forks.
I don't know. They're having some trouble down there.
Are they? Give them a second. I mean, at least they've got it stood up a little bit. Maybe they can back it down a little bit.
Adventure bikes are really, really heavy, and once they tip over, they're a huge pain in the ass. They're also on a very steep grade. Like, it's a problem.
There we go. They're giving us the wave. We can make it now. And if that wasn't enough, like many of the trails near the Alpine Loop, there is a scattering of old mining structures, equipment, and even some rails and vehicles left behind. Somebody on the internet needs to tell me what this thing is. Some piece of machinery.
It's a boiler.
It's a boiler.
Yeah. That's what all these little pipes are through it.
Oh.
I would assume this looks like a boiler to me.
But what is probably the biggest draw to this area is getting to explore one of the best preserved ghost towns in Colorado. So we are currently in Animas Forks. This is one of the more popular stops in the Alpine Loop. This is in the Alpine Loop, right?
Yeah, that's like the Alpine Loop.
If you're ever down in this area, I definitely recommend stopping by and checking it out. It's a ghost town. There's a lot of cool things in it. It's a great historic site. What do you think of Animas Forks?
Awesome.
I think
Sketchy, but it's fine.
It's not sketchy. These are well-preserved buildings.
Fantastically preserved. Did you go upstairs?
There's an upstairs?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to go upstairs. You're not coming up?
We already did.
My favorite spot, which you'll see in here in just a second, is the little prison.
Outlaws.
It's an awesome place to stop, but we got to get on the road, then head out to the big boy trails.
Yep.
Black Bear.
Black Bear.
I'm ready for Black Bear. Leaving Animas Forks, we got to experience what can only be described as the coolest driving experience of the trip so far. The record-breaking winter had caused massive avalanches across County Road 2, with reports that some areas were covered with as much as 120 feet of snow.
Check out this avalanche debris earlier this week on County Road 2. Incredible pictures here. This was taken on Wednesday going toward Animas Forks,
causing the normally year-round access road to be closed. And even in late August, there were still 25-foot high ice walls. Getting back on the road, we started heading towards Black Bear, which we still weren't even sure was open. But on the way there, we had our nerves tested to the limit, accidentally driving up the wrong trail, which we now know as Porphyry Gulch. So apparently we drove up the wrong trail. I mean, it was a pretty drive. But getting slightly lost on the way to the most dangerous trail in Colorado wasn't what really ratcheted up the tension. That happened when Dom's Jeep started to overheat.
Right? It's a pretty place to be broke.
Yeah, definitely worse places to be broke down. Or better places? I don't know what the...
Where that happens. Let it go for a minute.
It didn't take us long to get the situation under control. Ready to give it a go? Ready to give it a go. You scared, Kate?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It'll be all right.
No, I won't.
Yeah, it will. But being lost and broken down on top of everything that we had seen, heard, and experienced along the trip had our nerves at their breaking point, and it was showing.
I love you, Mom and Dad. I'm probably going to die.
If she dies, I'm sorry.
If she dies, it's Dom's fault, and I'm going to haunt him for the rest of eternity.
We're both going to die together if we die.
After correcting course, we finally made it to Black Bear, the pinnacle, the apex, the goal of the trip.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is where I die. Dom here is going to kill me. Black Bear Pass. The car started heating up, Dominic.
It overheated because I left it in two-wheel drive.
I don't care.
We began to descend onto the trail at the heart of so much controversy. So many people in the overland and off-road community talk about how easy the trail is, and on its face, it's not the most technical or difficult trail by any means. What makes Black Bear earn its slogan, "You don't have to be crazy to drive this road, but it helps," is the consequence of a mistake, which has only been made worse by the record snowmelt tearing away much of the berm on the cliffside of the trail. Descending the first difficult section, aptly named the steps, I may be cliche in saying that cameras don't do any of this trail justice, but the cameras just don't do justice to any of it. Any experienced off-road driver will tell you that the things that seem terrifying while driving often look no more terrifying than a graded dirt road on the camera. But I assure you that the 2.5+ foot step downs that are off camber towards the cliffside are not for the faint of heart. And off-camber is really the key word to that last sentence. What separates this road from most other shelf roads is the camber. Not only do you, as the driver, need to skillfully drive a technical rocky shelf road, almost the entire downhill section is also cambered towards the cliffside. And if driven incorrectly, puts you in the most danger of rolling the vehicle. This is what makes the steps famous and extraordinarily satisfying to complete, and after all of that, you come to what is quite possibly the most visually stunning, yet somehow more dangerous section of the drive, the switchbacks. Going back and looking through the history of the accidents on this road, I found that at least half, if not a majority, happen on the less technical but still very challenging switchback section. Part of the problem is that after the steps, drivers, myself included, often have a feeling of accomplishment and relief after completing the significantly more difficult previous section. The problem with that is that the narrow, extremely tight switchbacks are unforgiving. The smallest mistake can cause an accident, and accidents on this section often don't stop until you reach the bottom of the road, the fast way. With all of that said, I want to comment on the profound beauty of this trail. This access to the town of Telluride provides quite possibly the best driving views in the country, unparalleled to any other off-road trail I've driven to date, but this may all be coming to an end. Every few years, there are talks about closing Black Bear, with Sheriff Bill Masters calling for permanent closure back in 2015 after a particularly bad accident. So if you find yourself considering this epic and quite possibly life-changing drive, please exercise proper preparation, assessment of your driving skills, and if you are a first-time driver, go in the company of other skilled drivers or hire a guide to help spot the difficult lines. Where'd you guys say that you worked at so we can plug you?
Colorado West Jeep Rentals, and you're right. I'm Ronnie Dixon.
But the absolute most important thing is to not underestimate the time it will take you to drive the next trail heading into the end of the day and then getting stuck having to descend a difficult trail that you're unfamiliar with in the dark. Yep. Don't do that. It is sunset on the top of Imogen Pass.
Yep, we're going home with the lights on.
Good thing.
This is why you buy $600 worth of rigid lights for the front of your Jeep. So when you f*** up, you can get home.
You know I earned that sub. Hit it.